want to start slow. Now, our first chord just happens to be right where our first position pentatonic is. Now, we have 4 notes on the 7th fret we can choose from. They're all going to work great because they're all derived directly from the chord. So we're going to have 7th fret E, D, G, and B. So we got. Now our second finger is going to cover up this A string. It's going to give us all sorts of riffs like that. But we want to start off slow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate more on vibrato in the beginning. Now, vibrato is one of those things I love as a guitar player. You know, my favorites, so like Neil Schon, or Sean, George Lynch, Eddie Van Halen, Steve Lukather, you know, obviously Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan. All these guys have tremendous vibrato, and it really adds a vocal quality to their soloing. You know, when we solo, we're taking the place of the voice, so we want to make our guitar playing as vocal as possible to carry on the melody or theme of the song, right? So one of the things I do, rather than try to do vibrato with my fingers like this, which you can do, you know, I mean, whatever works for you, I find the players that I like often use their thumb as a hinge point, and they actually rock their wrist to get their vibrato. Now, in doing that, we can keep our fingers stiff, and we get all the muscle mechanics that we need from our actual forearm and our wrist rocking, rather than trying to muscle with our fingers. We also get a much more consistent swing, right? Because the pressure stays consistent rather than trying to muscle it up and down, which lends itself to the pressure of the strings on your fingers, right? This movement, rather than using your whole arm to help you, right? So we got, right, you can see my whole forearm moving, and it's actually going like this. Plus you actually end up shaking your whole guitar, which actually looks, you know, looks pretty cool. It looks like you really mean it, like you're strangling it. But anyway, so work on vibrato. Now, one of the things that we can do is we can try to get our vibrato in time, right? It's not going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll be like a subdivision of time, like eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So if we try to do that in our song, right? It really lends itself to getting the music, you know, everything melding together, and it really stays right in the pocket of the groove when we get our vibrato in time with music. So try that first of all, right? Try that again. Okay, so riff ideas. Let's come in, and we don't have to directly always hit a note right out of the chord, although that does sound awesome. What we can do, our chord is this, but I also slide up and catch the 9th fret D and G. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stay on this note and just forever, right? Until my guitar doesn't even want to sustain anymore. But we really want to work on our timing on that vibrato. So first riff. Now the second pass, we're going to add a new riff. Now, here comes some other techniques that we're going to use. Muting. And we're going to use muting because we want certain notes, obviously, to be muted, hence the name, but we want other ones to pop out, right? So if we go, so I'm sliding, but I'm actually muting the slide, right? Well, versus, we got, so we just put our palm right where the strings come out, over the saddles. So I went, I hit the 5th of the minor chord, which is basically what we're doing. I hit back to that fifth, hit another note out of our chord, and then I'm going to pull it right back into the octave, right? So our two riffs together, let's hear what that sounds like. Now that second part is kind of a slur, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to start at the 9th fret, but it's not going to be like, it's going to be, then we're going to pull off from the 7th fret to the 5th, back to the 7th, all on the A. So our first riff. Then our second riff. Now I slid in 7 to 9, then I go down to the D, 7 to 9, back up to 9 on the A. Now what we're going to do is something you're going to hear all the time, and I've touched on it already, but the quarter note bends. Right? Now I could just as easily go, but it sounds so much cooler with a little something something on there. You can even do it on that D string, 7th fret. And that's when we come and we catch that 9th fret slur. Okay, so all together. Now another thing you want to pay attention to is the drum beat. Always keep in mind what the drum beat is, because you want to be hitting those accent notes on those kicks and those snares so they really come through, right? The bass player and the drummer are always, where they hopefully are, locked in. So when you start punching in on those notes, those kicks and those snares, right, when the music is happening, then your notes that you're accenting really come through. So one thing I forgot to touch on was the muting. Okay, on that riff, we're going to slide in muted, then we're going to mute, and the two notes we want to pop are going to be those two. So we got, right, rather than just, right, no muting at all. Now, when I come back to the no muting, just let it fly. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on a little bit more. We're going to build and keep building, right, our next couple sets of riffs, and then we're going to just let it go and start do ferocious riffing. All right.